The Astros are off today after a series sweep over the Rangers, so what better time than to bring in our Astros guru and Sports2Nite baseball correspondent, Richard Oliver, to talk about that Silver Boot series win in the Astros sweep. So Richard, how impressive was that 4-game sweep over the Rangers?
It's always sweet for the Astros because you remember a couple of years ago when they did make the playoffs after that kind of surprise 2015, it was all because of the Rangers. The Rangers just whipped up on the Astros all year. So I think everyone still remembers that and says, well, at least that's the rivalry we've been looking for. That was an important sweep and a lot of fun to watch.
Was it good to kind of get them back on track? They had that tough stretch, the Yankees, the Red Sox, where they were about 500 ball. Now to get some momentum going in what could be a pretty easy end to the month of June.
You know what I really liked about that series that the Rangers didn't like was a couple of those games the Astros won that they should not have won. That Game 3 when the Rangers stranded 17 runners in that game, 1 for 17 at the plate with runners in scoring position. No way the Astros win that game. They won it. Then they went in on the balk on Sunday afternoon. That's not something you see every day, of course. So a big series because it really kind of catapults the Astros forward into a part of their schedule where they can make some hay. And this was that little 4-game stretch to kick that off where everyone said if they could get going here against a team like the Rangers that are really down, might be a good thing for the Astros in the long run.
The balk-off. Have you ever seen something like that, the walk-off balk? And maybe is that just an example good teams finding a way to win in a situation like that?
Absolutely. And here's what was really unique about that was the fact that nobody called the balk.
Right.
All 4 umpires out there didn't call it. You know, A.J. Hinch goes out there and argues it and gets the call. That was the stunning part of it. I don't think Jeff Bannister had any issue with the fact that there was a balk on the mound. The idea was that how come nobody called it? How do you not call a balk and then you get talked into it? But hey, listen, a win's a win. The Astros really needed that one.
Are there some lingering concerns perhaps because, they're beating up on the Rangers. They have this easy stretch coming up, but because of what the Yankees have done so far, because the Red Sox have played them even, what do we really know about the Astros, kind of where they shake out right now amongst those teams?
You know what we know about the Astros is what is not happening. What's interesting is they're not getting the hits. Guys like Marwin Gonzalez, some of these guys who are not getting it done where they did last year. Jake Marisnick, who's been absolutely horrendous. But you know, those are the guys that history dictates will get it done. So there is a faith equity there where you kind of look at those guys and say, okay, there's a little struggle happening. And that extends to the pitching staff. With the All-Star break coming up just down the road, Dallas Keuchel, Charlie Morton showing some little fraying on the edges, those kind of things. That's where the Astros have to look at their team and say, here's where we've got to really shore up things or have that faith equity that things are going to turn around in the second half of the season.
Okay, so your opinion on that, because Dallas Keuchel gave up the 6 runs yesterday, a handful of hits, and his ERA is way above what the other guys in the rotation are doing. Is this a long-term concern or just knocking off some rust here in the first half of the season?
Well, we're all hoping, of course, that it's not physical because this is something that's been a problem for Keuchel in the past. He's had the neck problems, had some back problems. I think it's more than that. I think this is a pitcher who's kind of lost his mojo a little bit. And this has been happening ever since he won the Cy Young. He's been kind of just going through some issues physically and mentally. This year, not throwing that sinker, not getting it down in the batter's box, to try to get the guy to beat it into the ground. We're not seeing that. He's getting everything up. He's kind of aiming it. It came up time and again on social media on Sunday as he was pitching. So he just kind of throwing it in there, lobbing it, trying to find his spots. Instead of pitching to the hitter's weakness, he's kind of just trying to get it in there for a strike. Those are the kind of situations that are really, really inflamed when you're a pitcher like Dallas Keuchel, who's got to pitch by feel. He's not going to overpower anybody, and this has been going on for a while. 4, 5, 6 starts now. He has not been very good. 8 losses on the year. That's a concern, I think, heading into the second half.
Yeah, it is a long season, so time to sort that out. But because it's a long season, you have the ups and the downs, especially when you're a defending World Series champion. So in a sense, I want to ask you this. How good has it been for the Astros that the Mariners have kind of been pushing them to keep pace atop the AL West?
I think it's great. You and I were talking even off camera about the idea of the Cubs not having anybody prodding them after they made the World Series the next year and just kind of getting complacent. I love the fact the Astros are being pushed a little bit. And especially now you look at 32 consecutive games coming up now for the Astros, starting on Tuesday, where they're going to face teams that are either have losing records or like the Oakland A's are just barely above 500. This is the time when the Astros could push the Mariners because the Mariners have the Red Sox and the Yankees over a 9-game stretch. That's going to be fun to see where those 2 teams end up at the end of that.
Really will be an interesting push towards the All-Star break. Well, Richard, as always, thank you. We appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely.
You're watching Sports2Nite, San Antonio's only nightly 30-minute sportscast with exclusive sports coverage you won't find anywhere else.